When you feel, you simply experience. Allow the energy to move is a very important part. If we do not do this, then we have good feelings and we have bad feelings, and the bad feelings we try to get away from. Well, you cannot try to get away from one kind of feeling without getting away from another kind of feeling. It's just the way it works. Your body begins to have a conditioned response action. We do not even feel those things that are pleasurable or that provide us with peace or with the experience of love or the experience of being able to truly understand. So it was important at a particular stage of our development to not really have anything to say at all about feeling. If we have done the exercises properly, one of the things that we know is that so-called bad feeling transmutes itself into good feeling. If this is the case, we need not stop feeling, but continue to add to our feelings. It is natural to have some feelings that bring a kind of sadness. You are in form, and those things that are destructive toward form, your body naturally has a response. If you see someone get their arm torn off, your body will go, it's not a bad thing, it's your body telling you, let's not get our arm ripped off, let's do this another way, okay? It is important to truly understand the nature of feeling, whether it is, quote, good or, quote, bad. It is all feeling that must be understood. It is the fire of life. It is the reality of living. It is the experience of living. Without feeling, we don't live. We may be alive, we may be existing, but we are not feeling and not truly alive. Not truly. So, it is important to get past the good and bad of it and to feel it. It is the fuel that will give you your future. It is just that you must build upon, that you build the future on. How you feel in a given moment and what you are saying to yourself create your futures, create the next moment. So then it does not, if we do not care for misery, it doesn't make sense to create misery. Okay. It only makes sense to surrender oneself to the nature of this universe, to surrender to the fact of feeling. Just feel. That's a fact. That is something, that's a law you will not get over. Somewhere in our minds, we have accepted the fact, or we've accepted the idea, that there will be this place where we just laugh and hee and throughout the day, forever. That is not so. It is so, but it is not so. It is so in that when the depths of despair are felt, if we accept the feeling without whatever we are thinking about in the moment, even that will be joyful. It is joyful to feel. Only then can we truly live our lives as mankind. Only when it is a joy to give of compassion, to give of love, to give, period. Only then is it meaningful when it brings us joy. but it brings that warm feeling. And there's something very interesting about that warm feeling. It can come from any place, any feeling that you have. If you accept the feelings that you have, let them flow. Their nature is to create that warm feeling. That is its nature. If we accept it and be with it. It's very difficult, though, because when things happen, quote, bad things happen, we're not having a good day or whatever it is, that we're not having a good whatever, month, year, 10 years, whatever. What do we do? Each time we feel misery, we are creating more misery. And this misery you have to live out. You cannot jump over it. You cannot go around it. That is why it is imperative, in spite of the things that come back to us, these miserable things, you have to accept them and go inside and feel good. Because if you don't do that, you never break the circle. You never break the circle of misery or the circle of whatever. You say, well, that's hard to do. Well, nobody said it was easy. It's not hard once you practice it. And then things begin to change. They will change because you are now actualizing the reality of being. You are now actualizing, making it happen, bringing it to action. This is how you create. That is why it is important to understand the nature of feeling. If you can close your eyes, just close your eyes for a moment. Visualize something that made you feel good. Bring the feeling into reality now. Just recall it, yes. Just recall it and feel it, yes. Okay, open your eyes. Where is the thing that made you feel good? It is not here. What this simple little exercise then says is that you can feel any way you choose to feel, any time you choose to feel that way. Then what is the logic in, well, just let me get out of this depression. It will leave. Well, yes, maybe. Unless you die before it ends, well. The point is, I have said to you, you must feel truthfully about life, period. You must feel well about life, no matter what the physical circumstances are. And this is without, it is without reason. Without your reason. Well, I feel this way now. I can't feel that way. That's your reasoning. And that reasoning is unreasonable because you've just had the experience that you can feel any way you desire, anytime you desire. That is the truth. So then how you feel is a matter of choice, isn't it? You must remember that. No matter what the circumstances, no matter how, quote, distressful, because someday you will lay the body down. If you will, or if you have ever come in touch, and perhaps someday you will come in touch with someone who's dying, there comes a point when, for many of them, when they recognize the truth, when they recognize, I should have been doing X, instead of why. Yeah. But that's when the understanding of death is upon us. And we wish we had. Okay. Well, if that is the case, then it is true. We can choose at any moment. At any moment to feel. When we feel truly as men feel, that is, without all of this, it becomes a wonder and a joy to be alive. It doesn't matter how bad you hurt physically, or it doesn't matter what you have or what you do not have. You're simply prepared to give back, because that's the nature of life. It's a flow. It's a giving. You're perfectly willing to touch someone's life. That is a gift. Whether they accept the gift or not, that is not up to you. That is not up to me. Only when I am the receiver of the gift can I be in charge of how it is received. Then we are in life. We are in compassion. Then we are adding to the positiveness of life. Then we are feeling. We sometimes think too much. We will be feeling all the wondrous things there are to feel. And there will come a time when someone we do not deem worthy, and that comes from our minds, and we shut our feelings off. If we will but think for a moment, who stopped receiving the gift? Not the person that you did not deem worthy, but you. The gift is how you feel, and what that can do for your body, and what that can do for your being, and what that can do for the being of mankind. It's all very, very simple. Someone once said, keep it simple, stupid. That's a code I live by. Keep it simple, stupid. Let's not make it too complex. Let us not make it about something that it is not about. So, these are the natural gift to man, or in man. These good feelings, quote, good feelings. And there is only one feeling. Really, there is but one. It is just that we will think a certain way about something and cloud the nature of our feelings. It is absolutely godlike to feel good, because that's the way it is. It is to bring godliness to Satan. Satan is form, not a boogeyman, but just form. Is a spirit of things. Without the absoluteness of feeling, we become engrossed in the form and refuse to see that something else exists. It is about form. It is about my form. It is about the form around me. And many of these things are in our consciousness unintentionally. We have feelings about things that control us. It may not be this pile of money. It may be some other thing. But yet it's there, and we don't want to admit that it is there for that thing. So it is important to understand that all things must go. That doesn't mean that they will disappear, or that they should disappear. That's not what that means. It means our attachment to it must go. Our unreasonable attachment to it. Let us put it that way. Let's put it in that sense. Our unreasonable attachment. That is the thing that will cause you the problem. Things are just things. If it is in your nature, if it is within your being to create things, they will be there. So we need not worry. We need but be generous. Okay? Generosity is of the spirit. I don't know truly that there's such a thing as generosity, okay? Because that, to say generosity, that says that it exists separate from something, and it does not exist separate from something. It exists as a result of something, as a result of being. And that generosity is, what do you pass along to your fellow human beings? You see, what do you give to them? What you give to them, you will receive in turn. It's not like going to the bank, although it is like going to the bank. If you put money in the bank, you can take money out of the bank. Let's say at this bank you could put in shoes and get out suits, or shoes, or money, or food, or air, to receive something in return. Generally, if we can operate from the position of open feeling or absolute feeling, you receive an opening of the spirit, an opening of the mind, so that the spirit exists totally and absolutely within your being. I suppose if we talked about generosity, which I have a problem with, that it would be the happiness received from just being happy. To open the gates and to allow those gates to flow or to flood is very difficult sometimes. When you think everything is going down, it's very difficult not to cover your head. But not to cover it, you must. And not to feel depressed. You must open it so that everything flows up. Because this is what you are creating your life from. The way in which you create is directly related to your feelings. Directly related. So you cannot possibly close and receive openness. If you close, all you can receive is closeness. Well, I suppose there's a generosity in that too. The generosity of getting lots of bad stuff. You're getting it generously. A generous portion of it. Your senses technique. That senses technique is designed to accustom you to feeling. Openly and freely. To stop the mind and just feel. It's in certain ways that humanity behaves. Well, I guess in this society we have been taught that you get something for nothing in a way. And almost everyone does. That is, we do a half job, we get our money anyway. Well, in the absoluteness of life, in the whole spiritual aspect of life, it doesn't work that way. You can force things in the, quote, workplace. You can force things in government. You can force things. Somehow they don't come out right, though, you know? They just don't seem to come out right. In the spiritual aspects of your life, in terms of those things that are non-tangible, you cannot force them. They only come a certain way. And one of the reasons that you can close your eyes and recall that feeling is because your mind is now occupied with the circumstances that brought about the feeling. The feeling can only be there once you feel it, accept it, allow it to be. It is being with a person and allowing whatever to shut down feeling upon feeling upon feeling. And finally one day you look at this person and you say, I don't know you. I thought I knew you. I don't even like you anymore. Well, you never did know them. The feeling that you had was inside of you all along. You look at them and you see a phantom. You see a shadow. Well, that is all you will ever be able to see. You just changed the way you looked. The truth is, it is how I feel. That's the truth, and it has nothing to do, has to do with me and not thee. Okay. So, if I just allow myself to feel, everything is fine. Everything is wonderful. We get into our heads and we start wanting to make decisions with our head. Well, sometimes we must do that, but not unreasonably so. Sometimes we must do that, but when we are looking for the things of our spirit, you can't afford that. You can't afford to shut down what you feel. We sometimes need to make decisions about how we feel in spite of our love, or not in spite of our love, but with it just being there. We still have to use our heads, and sometimes we don't do that very well. But it's not one or the other. They both must come together. The thing about coming to be yourself is that you stop trying to determine what others must be. The only time you get into what they are is when they get into what you are. When they start bringing it over into your space, then you say, get out of my space. It's not real hard, just take that over there with you without it changing the feeling that we have. There is no excuse. There just is none. As long as we accept excuses, and we often cloak them in reasons. This is the reason why I'm doing. No. That's just an excuse. If you accept that, then you will shut down your feelings. And the feelings are the elixir of life. I don't know what happened, but I was recalling when I was a child. I was thinking about the condition of my knees. And I remembered when I was a child, I could jump so high. So high. And then I recall when I was a child, the reality was I couldn't jump very high at all. The height of the jump was in my mind, was in my being. It was in the feeling that I received from the jump. The whole idea, though, is that the child could jump and touch the sky. But so can the old person. Can jump and touch the sky. Because it's the feeling. It doesn't matter. It is the feeling. It is the experience of doing, of achieving, of allowing joy. When we can't allow joy, if I jump to touch the ceiling and I miss the ceiling, I become ego involved with all. I got to do that. Well, it has become something other than what it was meant to be. Just jump. When you see a kitten or a puppy, why do they jump? They just jump. Just for the hell of it. They'll be walking through the house, they'll jump straight up in the air, ears back, and pew. Why? Why not? See, we need the whys. Well, that cuts off the natural feeling. You have made a choice when that happens. You have chosen to cut it off. Some will say, but I can't do that. I blah, blah, and I have to do this, and I have to do that, and blah, blah, and I can't behave that way. Then you will not know the joy of living. It's that simple. When we make those decisions. I can't, well, it's a choice, you know. That's all it is. I'm not here to say that you must live your life in this way. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you are to live your life in joy, you must live your life in joy. That is all I'm saying. If you are to live your life in misery, that's okay. If that is what you desire, it is a choice. It is all choice. Do we choose to feel? That is up to us. Do we choose to feel those things that are, quote, negative? Well, I think we must choose to feel them until we discover they're not so negative. They tell you something. They create for you. They create without effort for you. So, it is very simple. It is making a decision. How do we want to treat our fellow man? If we would stop, look at someone, and allow our feelings to be, a lot of war would cease to be. It would simply cease to be. When we really think of it, we become the angriest with the people that are close to us because we think they ought to know better. That's why you get all upset, and then and then you're not looking at them as a human being. Well, it's a choice. What do you want? You know, we want to strike out at others to let them know how we feel. Why? Why would you want to do that to someone else? You don't want to feel that way, so why would you want to express it to another? That's what that's about. You have made me angry, blah, blah, blah. Quite often, when we, quote, know what's right, we become very pious, and we often strike out at other people because they're wrong. Well, I'm not so sure. Sometimes we have something in our heads and someone else sees something a different way. And we are wrong. We're wrong in here because we act on something and it has nothing to do with what's going on. So we have to be very, very careful and come to our feelings and understand our feeling. It's a process, okay? It gets you from point A to point Z. There are points between A and Z. Now, we can go from A to Z like that, or we can go A, B, well, I don't know. We can do it. The thing is, we must learn how we operate. It's a process. When we get to Z, oh boy, it's a process. Must know what we are doing in here. And when you are overstating your case, you'll stop. You'll simply stop. Because it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to always, always being right is a heavy burden. When I was very young, I was always told that I was very smart. It was good. Because it made me believe something about myself. So, I grew up thinking I was very smart. But being very smart also got in the way of feeling, because I was very rational. Okay. I'm smart. I'm rational. But you can't do this, and you can't do that. Yeah, right. I was so smart, I was in everybody's life. No. There comes a time when all that must go, and you just feel. You don't assume that you know what it is others are thinking. You don't assume that you have the solutions. It is quite often I see the energy being bottled up, not being expressed, because people aren't listening. They have the answer. Okay, well, the answer ain't working, kid. Oh, so, I don't know. I suggest that you stop. You say, but this is the answer if everyone would do that. Yes, that's true. I have the answer if everyone would do it. But they're not. So it's not the answer, is it? It is the answer. But it is not the answer. Because it's not going to be solved, because everyone is not going to do it. Once we see and let that feeling flow within ourselves, we see that we are not all at the same place, and we cannot all be at the same place. The 3-year-old cannot be at the place of the 40-year-old. That's why one is 3 and one is 40. If there is, there's going to be a problem on the part of the 40-year-old. Because they're going to be acting like the 3-year-old. The 3-year-old is not going to act like the 40-year-old. Okay? Because they're 3. The 40-year-old may be hanging on to memories and thoughts of a 3-year-old and behaving in that manner. That's not good. Okay? It's not good for them. So, as we begin to see these things, we accept the natural laws of living. This will change everything. This will change the world. As more and more people begin to do that, the structure of the world, the infrastructure of the world will change. And that is the way it will really change. It will not change by preaching. It will not change by teaching. It will not change by all of these things. It will change by each person changing the way they respond to the energy in their own being. This is it. You're not going to get around it. This is it. It's very simple. This is the way it operates. Now, what I want to do about it, and how do I want to do? That's the issue. Do I want to bang my head up against a wall? It's not going to help. Not going to help at all. Do I want to do the things that change the infrastructure? Yes. By adding my compassion, my love to the collective whole. That's what I want to do. In order to do that, I must feel. And I must feel unrestrictedly. I must feel, I must give, I must be generous. Open the gates. Just open the gates and let it be. You know, we may not, there are times when we don't want to cry. So cry, so what? So what? So cry. It opens the door to generosity. Not being able to cry closes the door to generosity. Okay, you can't open. Come on. Do I cry? Yeah. Why? I don't know. Do I have to have a reason? The door is open. Let it happen. Just let it happen. Feel totally and completely. Let there be not one reason why you should feel otherwise or why you should do otherwise. You find one reason, you'll find 1,000. And just remember, it is only you who will suffer. Then we can begin to move to other things. You cannot go places without understanding your own creativity, or without understanding the way or the rules under which that place operates. And the first thing you have to understand is you, so you don't get them confused. So you're not thinking, oh, this is a figment of my imagination, and it's not. It's a real bear. Okay? So that we know. Know yourself. Know yourself. Know yourself not only in time and space, but know yourself out of time and space. Time and space being all the stuff that you've picked up along the way. Know yourself now, know yourself then, know yourself as the future self, the self that you are going to become. How do you do that? You learn to feel, because it is the feeling self that you are going to become, okay, if you work at it. Okay? Know yourself, know that which is yours. Then you have a choice. If you don't know, you have no choice. You're just a victim of your own garbage, like anyone else, and we're just talking spiritual nonsense. Okay, I think that will be enough. I want you to think about these things very seriously. Think about this whole thing of feeling very seriously. Stop looking at others when you have feelings of whatever. Experience the feeling. That's the job. That's what has to be done. We want to blame others, and we want to blame this and want to blame that. Nah. You know, you want to examine. Do not forget. I don't care what's going on in your day. You have the right to know and to understand. Not only do you have the right, but you have the responsibility to know and understand what is happening inside of you. I suppose that's all for today. Thank you. Namaste.